Welcome to RACESTARS TV for the IPRA New South Wales eSeries tonight. Improved production car racing at its best tonight for their first eSeries 2022 version, of course, and our 547th broadcast tonight. Welcome, I'm Luke. I'll be hosting tonight's racing action from Hockenheimring, one of my favourite F1 circuits, and tonight we've got two classes of cars, V8 supercars and 2-litre cars, all mixed together to go door to door. Let's hope it's going to be interesting, with about a 7-second time difference between the cars out on circuit. There's a pretty even split too, about half and half of each. Let's head down to the track now and have a quick look as they do a quick 5-minute warm-up session. This was the qualifying results just run and done, and of course the supercars to make their way to the top tonight, highlighted by the blue banner, the supercars and the 2-litre cars with the grey banner. And it is Michael Dumbrell who puts it on pole position tonight with a 1:39.5. Scott McKeon will start from second, and Jason DiPattito, your top three. We look down to the 2-litre class. Ryan Gordon goes pole position for them, back in 11th outright, with Brad Harris and Brett Starling, the top three for the 2-litre class. Notably, Madison Down is here tonight. He did not qualify, but he was very quick throughout the practice session, so he set himself a challenge to come from the back. He's the wild card entry tonight for the racing, so looking forward to see what he can do out on the circuit. It's going to be pretty chaotic, I reckon, the first couple of laps, and especially when the supercars then catch back up to the 2-litre cars. How will their racecraft and awareness be tonight? We've got a few race cams which we can head across to as well, which would be great, and some of the regular names we know from different series, including the V8 vets. Hey, guess who's back? Mr. Dumbrell back in the seat tonight. There he is out on the racetrack in the HSR V8 supercar. So we'll be definitely looking at a bit of his on board tonight. We've got Scotty McKeon in the house as well, and we always rave about Scotty's sim racing rig. There it is, and he's also getting set for tonight. Another of the HSR competitors, and of course our third and final webcam for this evening is the one and only Reg James, and he's also out on the circuit, just circulating around with about 1 minute and 50 seconds to go. There's Reggie boy. So looking forward to this tonight, of course, and can you tell I'm a bit excited? I'm finally feeling better. COVID is finally, I think, behind me. I'm not coughing as much, so it means I can actually put all that effort back into broadcasting. Hello to everyone on YouTube. Make sure you stick some comments up in the chat tonight, and I will get you involved. RACESTARS TV, we're pretty unique in that sense that we do include you guys as much as we can to make it interactive. So any comments that I see, there you go. Dave Bordock, first man to stick a comment up in YouTube, says go Reggie James. And of course the Facebook comments I can actually flick up on the screen. So here's a couple of the 2-litre cars tonight. Now, if you don't know what the IPRA stands for, it is the Improved Production Racing Association, and it is a very affordable category. A lot of it is based on real-world road cars, and you chuck a cage in them and you go racing. And wow, just looking at some of the pictures of their real-world events, and it's just an absolute mammoth amount of different makes and models of cars, from BMWs right through to Silvias and Commodores, and I think there's a Charade in the picture I'm looking at, Subarus, an Escort or two. There's an incredible amount of variety in the racing. And I tell you what, that's what I love. It takes me back to the days of watching Bathurst back in the day, and I'm showing my age there, but when the cars were so unique and so different, which is great. Tonight, like I said earlier in the intro, that it's going to be these supercars versus the 2-litre, what are basically a TCR car here in iRacing. So get set. We've got about 10 seconds. We're going to go down to the grid, and then we'll get underway here for race one, round number one. It's 200 kilometres tonight, 44 laps around this Hockenheim circuit. So round one of the IPRA New South Wales eSeries for 2022. If you're joining us, welcome aboard tonight. This is how they will line up for the first event of this series. And off the pole position, it is Michael Dumbrell. Alongside him, Scott McKeon will start from P2. Jason DiPattito and Brody Sentence off the second row. Then it's Riali and James off the third row, followed by Dave Garbutt and Jason Dunn, your top 8. Dave Worrell tonight starts from a 9th place on the grid with Justin Cotter out of P10. Then it's Ryan Gordon and Brad Harris, your top 12. 13th place is Brett Starling with Ardley next to him, and then Peacock and Anderson off the 8th row. Jack Blake and Tim Robson round out your top 18 with Lamar and Vincent, your top 20. Spiteri down there in 21st place with Kirby, and then Madison down. He'll be quick, but he starts from the back. 23rd place, Luke Hogan alongside him, and right to the back, Justin McMahon tonight is out there as well. By the way, David Kirby is in the safety car, so he won't be taken to the grid. He'll be there if needed, if there is any sort of issue. Let's hope we don't have any issues at all. Let's hope this is a nice, clean race tonight, and we can see it right through to the flag. We're about to get underway. Bit of staging time. They do get a chance just to do their last final checks, make sure all their gear is working, then they load into the grid, virtual style. Just seeing the final cars appear now. Don't you love how they just appear in the virtual world? But this is the beauty of iRacing. There's nothing on the line tonight as far as damaging your vehicle. It's very, very cheap to repair these cars in the virtual world. Jonathan says, is this a brand new championship? Yep, brand new championship, first round tonight. And of course, based on the real world and put together by the IPRA Association for New South Wales, the Improved Production Racing Association for improved production cars, of course. So let's get set for action. We're just waiting on the final driver now to line up. You'll hear the cars start to rev. All the V8 supercars pretty much stacked to the front, the top 10 V8 supercars. There's a couple back in the pack scattered down in 20th and 21st. They did not set a qualifying time. Watch out for Madison down at the 23rd position. He's renowned for being super quick in anything he races. We're about to get the green light and get underway for this 200-kilometre opening round of the IPRA New South Wales eSeries, and we get away well at the front. Bit of wheel spin for McCune. He's gone backwards in a sense. Everyone else got away well off the line as they head down for the first time across. Oh, very wide there for Dumbrell. Petito's got up into second. Back in the pack, we may have a little bit of a getting together, and it was Blake, I think, possibly going around at the back. But Dumbrell, Petito, McCune, Riali, and Sanson's your top 5 as they head down this straightaway for the first time towards the big hairpin. Ardley leading the 2 leader drivers at the moment. He's got away well from Ryan Gordon. He's made up 3 spots. In fact, Ardley and Madison down already up 5 positions in the TTR car, up into 18th already. Notable speed difference between these cars through the hairpin for the first time. Dumbrell a 1 second lead. There's a look back at McCune's car. Petito, Riali and Sentence, your top 5. Still nothing's changed there. Back further, Reg James challenging the back of Brody at the moment. Then it's Garlett as they fly into this right-hander into Mercedes, a great part of the circuit where you've really got to slow the car down. The change of direction important. Get the tyres working. They've got cold tyres at this stage of the race. No point throwing it off into the weeds this early. You've got to take your time. Get the cars up to temp and up to speed. Look at Dumbrell. He has absolutely come out looking like he hasn't missed a beat, and he's leading this race at the moment by just over 1.1 seconds as we look down from the drone camera through the stadium section of this Hockenheim circuit, and already they're starting to gap out at the front. Remember, it's 200 kilometres tonight. No point throwing all your eggs in the basket on the opening lap. A lot of these drivers will be well aware they've got to get through to the first pit stop phase, of course. Riali made a good getaway up 1 position. McCune's recovered from his little mistake at the start as well to get himself back into 2nd place. Ardley still leads the 2-litre category, and at the moment he's being challenged here by Ryan Gordon. Here we go, wheel to wheel, side by side, and who's going to get through here in check? Well, pretty good. Side by side, no contact, good driving. Ardley still leads, only by a whisker. Jump on board here with Gordon. He's got to be careful in the braking zone here, giving each other great space, these drivers. So good respect shown. They know it's a long race, and that's where a lot of categories you'd see drivers probably come together there with inexperience, but all these drivers, they know what they're doing tonight. We'll put the class leaders at the top so you can check that out throughout the night as well. Obviously Dumbrell leading the V8s and the 2 leaders led by Ardley. Let's look back for a battle. It's Madison down, about to overtake Lamar here, and Matthew, I think he'll be a sitting duck in the braking zone. Madison down will just go down the inside, and he says thank you very much. That's up 7 spots now into the top 16 for Madison. He continues his fight forward. So really good scrap in the 2-litre class, I've got to say. The V8's out in front, already streaking away from the field. It's a 21-second gap between the top driver and then the first of our 2-litre cars, but these guys are scrapping like it's the last lap of the race. We're only 3 minutes into what is a 2-hour capped race, but a 44-lap, 200-kilometre race is the distance we'll see tonight. So into the stadium again. Look at the battle. The top 3 of the 2-litre class separated by only 0.4 of a second. Brad Harris at the back of that pack. He's in tow, just watching a new fastest lap of the race to a 39.9 for Dumbrell. He has absolutely dived out of the blocks tonight. Looking back from Kai's card now, you can see here goes an overtake attempt. Gorton with a bit of an overlap coming out of the final corner onto the pit straight, giving him a bit of a hurry along too. There's the push and the shove and the bump draft, as they call it in NASCAR. And it doesn't seem to unsettle these 2-litre front-wheel drive cars as much as it would some other cars. But Ryan Gorton looking a little bit desperate now. How defensive was Ardley? And now down around the outside, he's going to try and go the long way. And the Gorton team racing machine, as we see Hyundai versus Audi, and the Hyundai takes the lead of the 2-litre class now, and off he goes. Can he keep it? A car length or so in front, and then try and get across defensive. By the time we get down to the hairpin, he'll need to try and set that up as soon as possible. I don't think he's far enough along. In fact, I don't think he's going to get, yeah, look at that. Ardley goes back down the inside and says, thank you, I'll take that position back. Let's continue the battle. Look who's coming through the door as well, the 74 car. And that is Brad Harris. He goes, right, I'll have a shot. You leave the door open. I'll be stepping right through. Thank you very much. So good racing, good opening exchange. And they continue to fight on the 2-litre class. We'll go back and see the V8 shortly. But like I said, they're already streaking away from the field 31 seconds. I expect them at this rate to probably lap the field around lap 9. So it's not going to take them too long. I can't take my eyes off this battle at the moment now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars within about a second and a half here in the 2-litre class. So great job. And look at that, as Madison Down has already caught the back of this battle pack at the front. He's trying to find a way through. I reckon some of these drivers would see the Madison Down name on the relative and in the mirrors and get a little bit nervous. Oh, contact there. 2 cars have gone exit stage right. It's Josh Pocock's one of them and Matt Anderson was the other. So they've both got back onto the circuit, but that really opened things up for Madison Down, who took a 2-for-1 deal, moves himself up into 14th. Now he's made up 9 spaces in the opening 3 laps of this race. The TTR driver, fantastic getaway. Still Ardley leading the 2-litres. Let's go back to the V8s and have a look. And here we are. It's Michael Dumbrell just catching up to the back of the pack already, in fact. So he's catching Blake. And should be a pretty easy overtake with the speed of the V8 supercar versus the little Audi there. He slips through to put our first driver now down a lap. So Dumbrell leads McCune and then Tibertito, all HSR drivers tonight. It's a bit of a 1, 2, 3 at the top for HSR. And McCune makes his way through. And then it's Reali. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, it's an HSR smorgasbord out there tonight. Reg James trying to put a stop to that though. And in fact, so Reg James went wide, went off the circuit. And Brody's sentence went straight through. And now Reali's gone deep in there as well. He almost threw it off the circuit, and Brody gets a real good look at the back of his car now. Ardley's off the track. Is he okay? Oh, there's a bit of contact, I think, between Ardley and someone else. Down goes straight through there on Gorton, moves himself up another position into 13th. Ardley hanging on here with Harris challenging to the inside around through Mercedes and back onto this little squirt before we get to the stadium. So has Harris done enough to hang on? I think he has. So. And look out, because Ardley was sideways and now he gets a good run back. Madison Down tries to get through, the doors slam shut, but look out, here comes Gorton around the outside again. So these drivers taking no prisoners here on lap 5, and Madison Down probably did the right thing there. He just thought, look, this is a little bit aggressive, let's just hang back and not get ourselves involved in any of those shenanigans. Oh, contact between Down and Harris. So that was a little bit nasty. By the way, Dumbrell's off the circuit. What's happened there to your race leader? He's looped it down at the hairpin. So has he done this by himself? We'll have a quick look. So he's run away here. Now what's he done? Just got on the throttle. Yeah, so easy to do. And he hit the wall for good measure as well. So that's going to do some damage to his car. Unfortunately, go back to live, but he's still circulating. Let's hope it hasn't done anything major to his steering. Back with the 2-litre battle, and I wonder if Down's got a little bit of damage as well. It was quite a heavy impact on the left-hand side of the car. So fingers crossed it hasn't done any damage to his car, but we'll watch for the telltale signs if there's any sort of right hand down or left hand down. It looks okay from that angle. They do run the new damage model, but I'm not sure if that's in effect tonight because they're in a class or in a race with the supercars. And of course also a Porsche 911 safety car, which hopefully won't be needed tonight, but it's on standby, ready to go. Dave Kirby in the seat, probably a little bit nervous. So Ardley fighting back. Let's jump down to the nose camera here with Madison down, get a shot as he tries to close up underneath the back of the rear wing of Ardley. Hard on the brakes he goes. Into the stadium again. I think I can hear Anderson buzzing to the right hand side of him. It did. So Matt Anderson, sorry, it's not Anderson, it's Harris. Harrison really is really pushing this envelope here. Down's now between Ardley and Harris, and he wants to probably try and clear Ardley as soon as possible, especially after the contact on the last lap. Doesn't want to get tangled up in that again. So very wide there for Ardley. Onto the pit straight. Starting lap number 6 of 44. Pit stop strategy will come into this tonight. And to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure on the tank limitations tonight, how much fuel is in the cars. But we're definitely going to see a couple of pit stops down there on the headlights, just letting Ardley know, hey, it's time for me to progress forward, my friend. And he might just start to be a little bit more aggressive after what was a pretty calm start to the race and quite a patient start to the race too. Dumbrell fighting back here, goes past Dave Garbutt, his teammate, and Jason Dunn next in line. He's running 8th place at the moment, so both himself and Garbutt have well positioned from where they started the race. Overtake on again, or an attempt. Down, still tucked up behind Ardley. And like I said, he's got to try and get this done. You can now see Gorton just getting away a little bit in the front picture here, so you can just see, what is it now, 1.6 seconds. He tries for a switchback, and tell you what, they're not easing up at all. Ardley, we've seen him throughout different categories, the sports sedans he's raced in here on RACESTARS TV, and he's a good competitor. He does not ease up. He likes to really get his elbows out and fight hard, and he doesn't care who the name is that's coming up behind him or overtaking him. He's going to fight. So a little bit of contact in the back there. I was just watching this battle between Brody Sentence now. He's all over the back of Jason Dimititos. This is the first time that he's really attempted to move up into P2. Brody, he's had a good start to the race, up 1 position. His best lap time so far is a low 1 minute 40. And the only driver so far into the 39s is Michael Dumbrell. So it has been a good start to the race, but you can see the gap 4/10 in front, 1.5 seconds is the gap, and back to Reale behind. If we rotate the camera, you can see there is the gap to the driver behind. Reg James also just behind him. Staying on board, he's trying to work a way through here, and let's see if he can do it this time. He's also got to be careful here. There's a lap car there, Vincent, with plenty of panels missing off that car, and Vincent about to get overtaken, I think, by both of them. Here they go, across our curb cam. Back. Oh, contact. That was contact with Dumbrell, was it? No, it wasn't. It was so hard with so many HSR cars. I think it may have been Reale. You could just see from that shot too the damage on Dumbrell's left-hand side. That's where he swiped the wall. Look at that. It's taken the HSR symbol right off the side of the car. So he'll nurse that through to the first pit stop, and they get what's called a fast repair. If you're new to iRacing in the virtual world, or if you're watching this sort of thing for the first time, a fast repair is where basically you drive into the pits, you've ticked a box, you get 1 or 2 of them, and your whole car is completely fixed. All the panels, all the stickers are back on in an instant. So they generally, in a series like this, will give them a couple of fast repairs. So there's Reg James. Let's just jump on board with Reg for a minute here. He's working pretty hard behind the steering wheel. There he is. Just turns into this stadium section. He's in the Ford Mustang tonight, the number 38. Banter Alliance racing car, sponsored by Bay 21 Coffee. If you haven't tried your Bay 21 Coffee, go try it out. It's some good stuff. It'll open your eyes and keep you awake when need be. Sentence just running off the track. They're wild into that section of the circuit. It's a nasty one because the corner really creeps up on you. And in a Formula 1 car, it's almost just a flick to the right and flat chat. In a V8 supercar, you just got to back off a little bit. Scott McCune leads, and a pretty decent margin now as well. The gap out to 5.5 seconds. He'll be, I think, feeling pretty comfortable right now at this stage of the race. He'll be talking to his teammates, no doubt having a good time. It's a good way to share a social experience. Even though you're on a headset and a microphone, you can hang out with your mates any night of the week and race supercars. It's pretty cool. So McCune, 5.5 the lead. We're just looking at his setup now, as you can see there. It's a pretty decent sim racing rig. So down the gears he goes. You can see shifting there. It's not completely in sync. A little bit of oversteer as he just floats his way through the hairpin, then up the gears towards this fast sweeping right hand corner, which if you get it wrong there, it's very easy to get a tank slapper on and end up over the fence. So looks like he's got that car dialed in well though, and it looks very much in control. Back to the 2-litre cars now. Let's have a look. It's 11th place. Ryan Gorton leading the 2-litre category, but he's got Madison down, breathing down his neck now. So the gap back to down just on a second at the moment. So I expect, just looking at the lap times there, 1:48.2 last time around for Gorton, and 1:47.8 for Down. So he's taken quite a chunk out of him each lap. Let's jump on board with Madison, Trans-Tasman racing driver, and up 11 spots already in this race. Started down at the back of the field without setting a lap time in qualifying. He set himself a challenge tonight, and he's already almost to the top of the 2-litre category. So of course this series is to represent and to reflect the improved production racing category, and it's great. I love when a real world category puts their hand up and said, let's do an eSeries. It's a very cool thing, and of course these drivers love racing their real life race cars, but you got to get out there and race in the virtual world is equally as important. And it used to be known as the 3J club cars, and it's one of the fastest growing categories of circuit racing in Australia. So an improved production car is loosely based on a modified road car, and is made popular by the fact it's fast and relatively inexpensive as far as the race car goes. All that information taken straight directly off their page. So if they hit me for copyright, well, I've read their website. There you go. So Sentence has got up into second now. Dipatito back in third. Reali just went very wide, and he's lost a spot there to James and Dumbrell in that moment. So he returns to the track in sixth after that little error. Then we've got Garbutt just behind him, coming into shot now. Then Jason Dunn will be the next driver to come through. There he is. And then it's Dave Worrell. Dave Worrell here in ninth place. He's been a big contributing factor to getting this series up and running, so it's great to see him having a good run out there already tonight. Started ninth, he's running in ninth place. His lap time's around a 43, so there's quite a difference in the ultimate lap time between the top and the lower end of the V8 supercars. And, some nice colours on his car, and he enjoys his racing, and like I said, we should all be giving him a lot of thanks for helping get this championship up and running. I know a lot of the drivers will watch this back later tonight and hopefully enjoy the racing, and hopefully in weeks to come they can share it around and get their friends and family to come and watch as well. Have we got any family watching for any of these drivers tonight? I like to give them a shout out usually, because I know some of the families take the sim racing just as seriously as the real world stuff. They love to gather around with a couple of drinks and sit in the lounge room watching it on the big screen. So if we're in your lounge room right now, thank you and welcome, as Kai Ardley is just fending off Brad Harris here for 13th place. Still Gorton lead, so Madison Down wasn't able to get past him. He got right up onto the back of him. Now he's just settled back 1.5 seconds behind. I wonder if Down is just doing a bit of fuel saving now at this stage of the race. 11 laps in, almost 18 minutes. I wonder if he's just thinking, right, I'm just going to sit back, I'm going to save as much fuel as I can and maybe just jump in for a stop here and undercut Ryan Gorton just in maybe a few laps time. So we'll see how that goes. We haven't had to see the safety car tonight, which is good. 18 minutes in, and we're almost, well, we are a quarter of the way now through this race. So we're just seeing Reg James now with Starling just in front, so he's just trying to get past a couple of the 2 litre cars, and you can see the acceleration difference between the V8 supercar there and the 2 litre cars. Flies through. Dumbrell's also right in tow there. You can see a shot out the back there of Reg James. I just realised if Nick's watching, I'm still using his camera pack, so we chucked that on for a test last night. It's still there. So a couple of cool new camera angles thanks to Nick. And there's one of Dumbrell trying to get himself in check here. James 4th place, Dumbrell, then Reali, then Garbutt, then Dunham. In the background you can see Dave Orrell right in the background, just coming into shot there. Harris as well, fighting with Ardley. Ardley's still running 3rd in class and holding out Brad Harris. This is helping Matt Anderson just close the margin up a little bit as well. Let's have a listen. We'll crank up the sound for a couple of laps here and have a listen to the sound of these 2 lead cars, then we'll go to the V8 supercars. Volume up, enjoy. Just heard a motor let go there, and that's Harris, and he was having such a good run tonight, but that is definitely just let go. We heard the bang and look at the smoke trail, so he's going to try and limp that back to the pits. I wonder if there was contact prior to that or if he hit the fence. Try and endeavour to get you a replay now, so let's have a quick look at this incident. I wonder if Ardley maybe got together with him, so let's have a quick look. Go to a replay now with Brad Harris. So, he did get a little bit of contact from Ardley, and he went across and straight into the fence, which then blew the motor. So Brad Harris, a little bit of bad luck has just crept in, and that's costly. Back to live. It's all starting to spread out a little bit. There he is, just making it back to the pits now. So luckily for him, because if you're new to this, and I'm going to explain a fair few things tonight for any new viewers, but if you do have to tow back to the pits, which means you escape out of the car, it does cost you a lot of time, and there's actually a no tow rule, so they would have called a safety car. And there is a safety car, he's driven straight through. They would have had to call a safety car if he had blown that up. So you're going to see a fast repair now. Look at that, the car fixes itself, the fire goes out, and he can get back out on the track shortly. Keith Logan's in the house, says, "Hey Luke, sorry I'm late." Wow, what a stack. It was a big stack out in front. It is still Scott McCune leading this race, and it feels very much like a V8 Veterans night right now with these HSR boys populating the grid at the top of the order. So it's McCune, Leeds, Brody, Sentence, and then it's Dumbrell, Dipatito, James, your top 5. Then Riali, Garbett, Dunn, Morrell, and Cotter rounding out your top 10. Make sure you get a chance tonight to go and like the Facebook page of the Improved Production Cars New South Wales, Improved Production Racing Association for New South Wales. I'm going to put a link also to their actual website in the chat tonight, so I'll put that across on YouTube and on Facebook. And go check that out, because there's a lot of information, photos, videos, all that sort of stuff. It tells you about their category of racing. It's also probably a pretty cool category to get involved in. If you've got a couple of dollars lying around, you can get yourself a road car, stick a cage in it. Like I said, it's affordable motor racing. It's not like a full space frame sports sedan or something which is going to cost you bucket loads of money. Improved production cars, I think from what I've gathered over the years, basically if I went and took a road car, I could put a race cage in it, a few other little safety things, a sticker to show where the battery is, maybe a tow hook, a few other little things that are needed on the racetrack, and you can get racing. And it is such an affordable category, and it's always fun to watch when you go and see it in the real world. The racing's always close, and all the drivers always have a huge smile on their dial. On board with the Trans-Tasman Racing, Madison down right now again, still just sitting in behind Ryan Gorton, so the gap about half a second. Both of these drivers will be well aware there's a V8 supercar, Michael Dumbrell, P3 outright, just looming behind, and here goes Dumbrell just to try and sneak through. He'll probably try and go down the inside here of Gorton, I'd say, or is he going to hang back? So he's going to hang back. So already all of the 2 leader cars have been lapped by the leader. He goes Dumbrell now, and I guess it's a huge part for the supercar drivers too tonight to be patient in overtaking these slower cars. So it's, that is a factor which we see in the real world of improved production racing as well, because you might come up against a very, very slow car at a race meet, Mount Panorama. We see it all the time, and there can be quite a difference in lap time, 20, 30 seconds even. I used to love watching Bathurst back in the day when you had the minis, the Class F cars, the Class E cars going around, and then the really fast cars. You'd see them passing down Conrod like they were standing still. But it's it's a huge part of Australian motorsport. So this battle between James and Dipatito, probably the closest one we've got at the top of the order. You can see just behind them, you've got the Gorton down battle as well. So the Hyundai, a couple of them here. In fact, the top 2 cars are Hyundais in the 2 litre category. Then Kai Ardley, who's just sitting behind them, and a fair way back, 14 seconds back in P3 for the 2 litre category. He's the first of the Audis, followed by the Honda then of Matt Anderson. So he's our top Honda. There's a Wombars that's way past us. And then Luke Hogan, also in a Hyundai tonight. He's running in 15th place. Matty Wynn's not out there tonight, I don't think. I just looked for that name there, Keith. He says, where's Matty Wynn's? He's not out there on the track. So basically got 21 competitors still running. There's Tim Robson, who's down in 21st place. Brad Harrison, David Vincent, both in the pit lane. Justin McMahon as well. Only competed in 5 laps before he stopped. So I'm not sure what's gone wrong there for him. And Robson and Vincent have just got together for a crash as well. So we might just jump back shortly and see if we can work out what's happened there to those drivers. Back with your race leader. Still Scott McCune. The gap now 6.3 seconds. His gains in this race, 1 spot. Michael Dumbrell obviously had the pole position, dropped 2 positions with that self-inflicted spin, unfortunately, which put him in the fence. Oh, sorry, Keith says, no, he's another RACESTARS fan. Luke wondering where his stars are. Of course. Yeah, Matty, I haven't seen him yet tonight, but there's never any pressure for the stars. You guys know that. What I'm into is hopefully sharing this around the community for the IPRA, because it's all about promoting their category. We're going to do a few little interviews and that sort of thing in the up and coming races too. We're just settling into this first one, and then obviously we've got plenty of real world pictures, which I might go through a few tonight, seeing though it's a little bit quiet out on the racetrack. Dumbrell and James are in the pits, by the way, so here we go. First pit stops for the V8 supercars. Dave Worrell just coming around to that area of the track too. We'll see if he goes in for a stop. But there has been some, I've been enjoying just watching the chat for these guys as they show a few of their real life race cars, which has been very cool. So we'll flick a few of those up on the screen now while I can. So Tim Robson being one of them. There's Tim. And there's a look at his, we'll show you the real life race car as well, which I'm just going to quickly get these up on the screen. And there you go. So there's his real life race car and what he's driving tonight in the virtual world. So it's very cool. I'll flick through a few of these now and just show you as many comparisons as I can. And like I said, there's not a huge amount of battles going on right now. This one between Gorton and Down, I still think this will come down to the pit stop. And Madison's just been saving some fuel, and he might just sneak through. That might be his little strategy, his first part of the race. So just watch this. Let's go have a look for another couple of photos here. Whilst we're over in Discord. So Spiteri, how's he going? Trevor's down in 18th place. There he is in the Ford Mustang tonight. So that's the car that he's chosen to race in the eSeries, and his real life race car is an Evo by the looks of things. There it is. So good action shot of it there. Looks like Sydney Motorsport Park, doesn't it? So there you go. So you can see what a great job they've done of replicating their real life liveries onto the virtual liveries as well, which is a really cool thing. So good job. We'll flick through a few more. Dave Garbutt now leads the race, by the way, with McCune, Dibattito, Sentence and Reale all in the pits to make their first stop. So Ryan Gorton, who's been putting on a really good fight, he's leading the 2 litre category. He's still got Madison down in check. Look out, here comes Dave Garbutt. Look at the closing speed at V8 Supercar. So there's his race car tonight. Now he's from Newcastle. He's a graphic designer, this kid. So 24 years of age. Sorry, he's a design engineer. Get that right, not a graphic designer, design engineer. And iRacing on and off for a few years, mostly the dirt side of things. So he likes his dirt racing and iRacing. Real life racing, junior speedway, track days, hill climbs, super sprints, RX8 Cup champion 2020 and 21, and debuted in the 4 hour, currently looking for an IPRA car. So there you go. So this is, I think this picture here will just show what they raced in the 4 hour. So just reading between the lines, there they are, all the boys. So Ryan out there doing a really good job tonight and holding out Madison down lap after lap here. So a good shot there, enjoying his racing as well. Now another driver, Josh Peacock, is he out there? No, I don't think he is. Yes, he is, sorry. In the Honda. So there's Josh. Now he's racing tonight in the little Honda, but check out his real life race cars. Now if you get jealous easily, look away. There's one of them. So there's a machine and a half I'd like to take around a few race tracks in Australia. And Josh out there, currently sitting 20th outright tonight, is another one of his race cars. By the looks of things, is definitely a car that I want to get one day. It's either a PRB or a Lotus 7. You can probably tell me what it is, or a Caterham, but it's very, very cool. I would love to have one of those and whip up and down Macquarie Pass and around the Southern Highlands where I live in that. That'd be very cool. So some more cars we'll highlight throughout the night. Let's take a little bit of time now on lap 20 just to gather things up and have a little bit of a talk about the strategies as well. So at this stage, McCune back in the lead, 6.5 seconds ahead of Brody Sentence. All these drivers have stopped. A couple of drivers took a little bit less fuel than the others, as Madison Down did come through the pit lane, and I reckon I picked it perfectly. He took 2 seconds less fuel on board. And in fact, it's not just that, his transit time was a full 6 seconds quicker than Ryan Gorton. So it just goes to show the experience that Madison has when it comes to getting through the pit lane. There's Madison now in the car. Just that experience of getting into the pits and out again is giving him a plus 6 second advantage on the racetrack. So it's so important. A lot of drivers, you know, will practice hitting their mark into the box, but the amount of time you can make up actually really charging towards those orange cones where you need to be down at the pit lane limit is remarkable. So Madison's obviously done that to perfection tonight. He's not only jumped Gorton, but he's got himself a pretty handy lead there. So looking back at Reale as well, he's running 5th, Reg James 6th. Roy Clark's giving a shout out there to Reg, saying, "Lift, Reg." There's a very nice paint job there, isn't it, Dave Order? Roy wants a good look at Reggie's special paint for the series. Well, there it is. Very, very nice. Very colourful. It's got the Cathy Spett portraits on the side too there, Dave. You'll be pretty happy with that one. Big thanks to all the sponsors. You'll see them flashing at the top of the screen tonight, top right-hand side of the screen. All the real-world sponsors for the IPRA New South Wales series, and they've got behind this eSeries as well, so big thanks to them. And without sponsors, motor racing would be very dead in the water, so you've got to give sponsors a big pat on the back and a lot of credit. As far as racing battles goes, I'm sad to say there's no one within a second at the moment, so let's go to intervals on the timing screen and have a quick look. So you can see our closest interval's probably Dunn. Jason Dunn there with a 3 second deficit to Dave Garbutt in front. So yeah, it is really spread out. The track map will tell the story. There it is. So some big gaps out there. The people leading at the moment, McCune leading the V8s and Madison Down leading the 2 litre class. Finding it pretty easy by the looks of things. Let's go have a look for a couple more cars. And while we're chatting about, well, let's have a look at this guy, Madison Down, who we were speaking about before. And he's the wildcard entry for tonight, TTR driver, and Madison Down, the 2021 V8 Scops champion. So he's been doing this for a while. Pretty much everyone that knows iRacing and sim racing knows Madison, and he's tried his hand at a bit of real world racing as well. I think a couple of track days, that sort of thing, from memory. And he's an absolute weapon in the V8 supercar. I wonder if he's driving this 2 litre thinking, gee whiz, I'd love to be in the V8 having a crack at these boys at the front, because he wouldn't be used to a different category of car flying past like he's standing still. So, but it's great to have him tonight. Like I said, the wildcard entry for tonight, there's Madison. He's joined into this series. There'll be different wildcards throughout the series, and it's a good calendar that they've put together for this as well. This series will run throughout basically the rest of the year. It's fantastic, and it's a little bit spread out, but it's good. They'll give them time to really practice, and a lot of these drivers obviously full-time jobs as well as they're racing on the side, and not, you know, families, that sort of thing. So it gives them a chance just to do a bit of preparation. Hey, I got to show you Scotty McCune's car. I'm not sure if he sold this one. He's got quite a wrap of things that he's done. He's a builder, a building company director, this man, and his real life racing experience. He's done the New South Wales Super Sprint Series from 2016 to 2020, state champion in Tiapan class 4 times, so pretty damn good in the Super Sprints. And then he's done the Challenge Bathurst, many track days. His real life car is a VL 6 litre Commodore, but he sold it 2 weeks ago. So it almost makes me shed a tear when you see this thing. Check it out. So this was Scotty's, I gotta say, was Scotty's real life race car. Have a look at that. We'll get a couple of action shots of it as well, because there's some good action shots around the racetracks. There's a good one. So he's let that go. I wonder if he'll regret that down the track, but what a beautiful looking race car. And plenty of real world experience, and I think super sprints. I mean, I used to do a lot of super sprints back in the day with my Austin Healy. Absolutely loved it. It was such a friendly environment to just get out on the local racetracks. Oran Park was always a favourite, but any racetrack, be it Wakefield, Sydney Motorsport Park, and just blast off some steam. Drive to the racetrack, race all day, drive home again. It was just so much fun. So that's Scotty's real life race car, and I reckon he probably sold the race car, and that's what helped him buy the sim rig. What do you reckon? Similar probably price. Race car to the sim rig. He's got the full motion setup. Tonight 5.1 seconds the margin as he comes up behind another of the 2-litre cars. He gets out of the way nicely. Parks right on the apex, in fact, and slows it right down. So flick back through a few different drivers now, and like I said, if there's anyone you guys want to see, if you're tuning in, you're watching, if you want to see a particular driver, just keep reminding me and I'll give you little updates throughout the evening. We're already at lap 24, so 20 to go. Beyond half distance now. We're just on 40 minutes in the race. Kelvin says Josh's Clubman is either a PRB or a Caterham. It's been hand built by him and his dad. It's registered as a Peacock. There you go. So I always wanted a PRB since a friend of mine when I was in Sydney many years ago, Alan Bew, but Brian as well, his brother, but Alan I think inherited basically his dad's PRB and races it. It's incredibly quick. Can't remember exactly what lap times it does around Wakefield Park, but I think it may be sub 1 minute or very close to it. It's a super quick turbo 4AG PRB and absolute weapon on the street and around the racetrack. So I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for those cars, and I know some people will probably hate me for saying this. I just reckon they've got to fix the back end. They're a great looking car except for the back end. They look a little bit like a box trailer, but you do see ones that look fantastic, and I think putting the spare tyre up there also just breaks up the boxiness of the back end. So hopefully I don't get any flack over saying that, but like I said, they are one of my favourite cars. If a dream to have one day. Yeah, I'll be trying to employ a bit of design into that back end. Some tune leads here from Brody Sentence. There's Sentence on your screen right now. Sim Racing Grid driver. Good smile on his face there in the profile picture, enjoying this tonight. P2 outright with about a 3-second buffer back to Michael Dumbrell. Dumbrell just picking his way through some of this lap traffic. And there he goes. So he sweeps across. Himself, got up a position, but on the tracker position. It's just one of the lap cars goes back down. Michael, another driver who runs the full motion rig, there he is, bouncing around in the seat, and he's got the bottle cooler there, keeping his bottle of water nice and cold beside him tonight, as always. Good to see him back. I know he's been pretty busy, and he's back with a vengeance tonight. Running P3, he'll be kicking himself over that mistake he made at the start, because that put him on the back foot, and he'd possibly still be leading the race if it wasn't for that moment. So right now he's probably just got to put the head down, think, right, we've still got just on 20 laps to go. What can I do? Where can I end up? Madison Down still leads the 2-litre class. The gap now 7.7 seconds. A lot of that made up in the pit stop. Dennis Gordon, Kai Ardley third place, followed then by Matt Anderson. There's Anderson in the mix of a couple of VA supercars now. Club Racing Engineering PRS car. Luke Hogan behind him, running 5th in class, 15th outright. So Luke Hogan has Brett Starling for company. There's the supercar there of Cotter. No, sorry, it's Sentence is trying to get through there. It's Starling back in 16th place. Hogan just went off the track there, I think just to clear room for the supercar to go through. Then you've got Jack Blake back in 17th outright and running, I think, 8th in class. 7th in class at this stage of the race. So putting a nice little fight on here. Then it's Peacock, Josh Peacock in the Honda, running 8th in class, back in 18th outright. And the deficit to Blake in front, 5 seconds, so he needs to get a wriggle on. His lap time's at about a 1 minute 50.9 last time around. What is it this lap? Peacock goes across the line with a 1:50.9 again exactly, so he's consistent. And he took about 2/10 of a second out of Jack Blake on that lap, so nice job. Then they've got Matthew Lamoa back here, back in 19th place, 9th outright in class. And 20th place outright tonight is Trevin Siri, so he's running back there in 20th and 11th in class for the V8 Supercars tonight. So the pit strategy, this is how it looks after the first round of pit stops. You can see pretty even, and good job by balancing that out with the fuel strategy tonight from the admin team as well. Kudos to them. They've made all the cars, the 2 litres and the V8s coming around a similar lap to take fuel for what will be just a 1 stopper by the looks of things tonight. Actually, possibly a 2 stopper, because the most we got there was 19 laps. So you double that, and we're well shy of a 44 lap race. So just depends how much they can put in the tank versus the starting fuel. Quite often there can be a little bit of a difference there. Right, we might jump on board for a full lap here with someone. We might pick Michael Dumbrell, because it's just started a lap now. So we'll jump into visor cam, and I'm going to shut up for a lap here and enjoy. This is fine. On RACESTARS TV. So visor cam on board there with Michael Dumbrell for a lap around this Hockenheimring circuit, and he's slowly trying to close that margin up to the leaders, but that lap he was 5/10 off. I think this lap traffic is getting in the way a little bit for him. It's hardly he just gets past now. But the deficit 13 seconds to the race leader, but anything could still happen here for McCune. He's pretty consistent out in front, but we saw how easy it was at the start when Dumbrell made that mistake and went around. So it's easy to do. Let's go back and look at some other drivers back down the order a little bit. We'll go back to Matt Anderson. So the gap between himself and Logan, 4 seconds. There's Logan right now. Sorry, Hogan. Luke Hogan. 15th place, up 9 positions. So after Madison Down, who's made 12 spots up in the race, Luke Hogan's the next best gain, competitor to make the most gains, 9 places in 15th. So it's been a really good effort tonight. His lap time's in the 49th, so right now he's probably about half a second off down times, but importantly he's a bit quicker than the 2 competitors in front of him, Ardley and Anderson. So he may be able to just close that margin down and possibly go for a P3 in class tonight, which would be a solid effort for the first race of the series. good calendar, like I said. We'll just quickly run you through what the races are for this, this series and this season. And it goes right through to November, where we finish at Bathurst. So I'll just try and zoom in a little bit here on the actual dates for you. So you can say we kick it off at tonight, 20th of April, Hockenheim. We go to Winton, May 4th, June the 1st, Oran Park. Then July 6th will be Phillip Island for round 4. Then we do basically similar tracks again. We come back here to Hockenheimring. We do the outer track, which cuts out a few of the infield curves, just makes it a bit of a faster race. Then we go back to Oran Park, back to Winton, back to Phillip Island, and then of course finish at Bathurst on the 9th of November. So they're nicely spread out, about a month between each race meet, and it's a great thing they're doing, of course. The Improved Production Racing Association New South Wales putting on this series, and as we see the drivers enjoying this and settling into the groove. We're on lap 29 of 44. Our safety car driver has just chimed in on the chat, and his comment, here it is on the screen. Some very clean racing is sending the safety car to sleep. There you go. So David Kirby hasn't been needed so far. The safety car I did note before. Can I get a shot of it? There it is. So we'll get an overhead shot because it's a little bit, oh look, it's behind the grandstand. See if we can get a better shot so we can see the livery, because it may not come out tonight. There it is. So the safety car looking a little bit lonely there, but they've painted it up in all the sponsors for the series, which is fantastic. And he's just sitting currently down in the pit lane, waiting for an opportunity to get racing. But so far, we've been very well behaved. Very, very well behaved indeed. So McCune still leads. The gap 3.6, so that's starting to come down a little bit. Just looking at the lap times. Here's a lap trace for the last 5 or 6 laps. And Sentence has taken 1.1 out of him on lap 25. He took a 10th out of him on lap 26, and he's consistently taken a 10th out of him 27th, 28th, and nearly 2/10 on lap 29. So he's just starting to creep that margin back down towards the 3-second buffer. And psychologically, once you see 3 seconds, it's like, well, we'll get into the 2s. And there's still enough time to go 14 or so laps in this race. We still may see a challenge for the lead. I've got to say, last night we were doing a test broadcast for a new series that's coming up, and watched a little bit of the Dev race. Now I can't remember who the drivers were, but I saw one of the best overtakes I've seen in a while for sim racing to win the race in that Dev series race last night. So it was great to watch. As the race leader here for the supercars goes past the race leader for the 2-litre class tonight. I do apologise, I'm still, COVID cough will not go away. So sometimes I'm not quick enough to hit the mute button, so I do apologise for that. But I am feeling better, getting there. It's back to about 80%, I reckon. Reali, let's have a talk about this man. Mario, 5th place outright tonight, and this is our closest battle. We're going to engage with this one for a little bit now, because Reg James has got the target set on the back of the HSR car, and he's getting very, very close now. Will he go for the overtake? It's on. Reggie boy down the inside, goes for the overtake. Reali doesn't really put up too much of a fight. Reg goes through now, back up into 5th place. So fantastic job. Reali may come back at him here. Jump on board with Reg, looking back. There's a shot. There's the concentration face. Watch Reg watching his mirrors here, wondering which way he's going to go. He's going to go down the down the right-hand side. Reali has a shot at him. Reg turns in, just watches carefully at the apex and sees where Reali is. Now he might try and get the switch back. He can't. So big gulp there. He's taking it all in. Reg, he's concentrating hard. He has to grip the wheel as they turn into this fast-flowing right-hander. Oh, lock up for Reali. He'll go deep. Reg will try and slip to the inside here and take advantage of that. Can't do it though, so Reale just in front. Now he's also in a bit of trouble there, so Reale, they're going to go wheel to wheel. James gets to the inside run now into the stadium, and he'll move himself back up into 5th place. Good overtake. Good fight between these two. Reale back to 6th. Reg moves now up into 5th. So lap 32. Just the one-stop strategy tonight for all the drivers. It's been pretty comfortable for Down. He's got an 11-second lead at the moment over Ryan Gorton in class. And McCune as well, 3.6. So the margins just come down a fraction, but I think Scotty will be in control of that. He'll just be maintaining the buffer back to P2 for the final part of this race. He'll be well aware. Like I said, they all get a relative on their screen, which tells them exactly to the 1,000th of a second how far the driver is behind and also in front. And they can keep an eye on that. Sometimes it can get you a little bit flustered when you see that number start to diminish throughout a lap or two, but the drivers also know how to work the number, and they can push hard when they need to just to get it back out to a certain margin. We do have some spectator cameras here tonight. We've got one way up in the bleachers. I just got to find it. I'm trying to find where it is. Maybe I don't have it. Or is it this one here? Nope. That one's down in the stadium section, so at one stage we had one set way up in, maybe actually be this one. We've got stadium camera. This is, how's that for a shot? That is this Hockenheimring circuit. Just pause that there and we'll just wiggle this camera around. Check that out. We're up in the top seats here, up on the top level. And what a great place to sit if you could go here in the real world and watch some F1 racing for around this circuit. But how about that for a shot? The whole stadium section in view. And then you can even, from this vantage point, if you had a set of binoculars, you could look all the way down to the hairpin. So there you go, Mercedes there on the left as you go through it. Look at that, all the way down to the hairpin. And there goes one of the Hondas going down through the hairpin now. So such a great vantage point. Even the marshals down there, as one of the HSR cars goes through. The marshals are enjoying the racing tonight. Big fan of Scott McCune. There he gives us a salute. There you go. He knows we're talking about race leader Scott McCune. So great vantage point, and another thing to put on the bucket list, going and seeing a Formula One race here for sure. So lap 33, 11 and a half to go. Let's check out some other drivers once again. We'll go back down to Kai Ardley, who had the elbows out early on. He's third in class and currently about 32 seconds off Gorton. So we'll probably hope he can stay in front of Matt Anderson. Now what? Oh, Reg James was off the track. Reg has gone around. He's done a Michael Dumbrell there and spun around at the hairpin, which has dropped him back down to 6th place. So all that hard work against Reale has now just come undone. Reale's about to engage here with Spiteri. He's going to go down the inside, and Spiteri runs a little bit wide, which lets those drivers through because Spiteri's down a lap, so he's getting the blue flags, and I think I'll probably give him a little bit of a thanks there on the radio too, so good job. I tell you what, I expected one safety car tonight, and these guys have come out for this first round like absolute true professionals, which, you know, would you expect less from real world race car drivers? They are very clean at what they do, and we haven't seen the safety car. We've seen minimal incidents tonight. Have a quick look at that Reg James spin first of all. Here it is. Let's have a quick look. We'll just try and get that music off, and here it was. So Reg, this was the run down to the hairpin. Now what happens here? Does he do exactly what Dumbrell did and just light? Oh no, he actually snapped on the way in. It was like a compression lock up, and the HSR car Reale had to avoid him. So that was completely different to what Dumbrell did. Dumbrell was on the loud pedal and spun it round, and Reggie's just snapped the gear, and that sent him flying backwards. Now here's a good battle between Starling and Hogan. This is for position 15. So these guys are at it. Oh, and dearie me, he's just run off the track and given that position straight up. So that was unfortunate because he was fighting well, and now Luke Hogan goes slotting through into 15th place. That was going to be a good little battle to follow to the end of the race. but not to be. Gorton at the moment as well, he's got the margin to 12.9 seconds. Oh, and that's risky business as well. There's a lap car involved in this little overtake, and sideways four-wheel drift, and there's contact. Big hit in the fence there for Ryan Gorton. All that hard work has, well, it's come to this, sadly, and that looks like a motor as well. Lap 35, did I put the mockers on them, saying that they're driven so carefully tonight? And all of a sudden, we've seen quite an awkward incident. And, Gorton, he'll be absolutely devastated with that, because he was in for at least second place tonight. And that may cost him a podium. We'll get a replay shortly, a proper replay. But you can just see they went in towards Mercedes, and just that bit of contact as he moved across. I tell you what, he's probably only got himself to blame. Having a look at the replay there, let's go and have a full screen look at that one as he goes back to the pits now. What do you folks think of that at home? It looked to me like he just moved across. Let's have a look at a replay. Here it was. We'll slow it down and we'll go to the overhead chopper shot. And he was off the circuit to a certain extent. He came back on here. Now you can see the Honda giving him room, so there was definitely nice. Well, that's actually a little bit beforehand. Now watch through here. We'll stay at the overhead so you can just see the movement of Gorton. He came across there, obviously trying to open up the next corner, and he's just chopped the nose of the Honda, which has then effectively put himself into the fence. And it was a big hit too. So look at that, the car up in the air, the front comes off it, and around she goes. So unfortunately for Ryan, he'll probably the stewards will probably look at that and say, yeah, you'll have to just wear that one, my friend. He's got straight back out on the racetrack, so that's the beauty of the fast repair. And he's gone back to 4th place in class, so he hasn't lost out as badly as I thought. He's come back out behind Matt Anderson. So Madison Down still leads 2-litre category ahead of Ardley, Anderson, then Gorton and Hogan in top 5 in class. Battle between Reale and Garbutt now. This is for 6th and 5th place, and Reale challenging his teammate here. There's a lot of HSR competitors in this series. And as it gets down to the pointy end of the race tonight, well, here he goes. Oh, Reale got through very easily there, so made that look simple, didn't he? Meat bag like that crash. Oof, he says there's a big one. And Reg James is in the pit, so we're going to see now the second pit stop phase. This is interesting. It's I like the way they've done the fuel tonight to make it so they're going to have a splash at the end here. And anything can go wrong. Remember how quick Madison was on the first stop. He made 6 seconds up over his closest competitor. He did take 30 seconds worth of fuel. Kai Ardley, who's second in the 2-litre class, he took 34 seconds worth of fuel, so that's interesting to note. But the gap on track is 49 seconds between Ardley and Down, so it's a huge deficit. Goes to second. Reg James still in the pits. Is he okay? He's been a long time in the pits. In fact, it's been 2 minutes plus in the pit lane now for Reg James. Now that's not a good sign. And is that from the crash on lap 34? It is. So let's have a quick look at this on a replay. Reg James has had a big one, I think. Here it is. The spin. This is the first one. There's a secondary spin though, so let's have a look at this second one, because I think this is where the impacts happen and the damage has been done. Now, is this just prior to the Gorton crash as well? Oh no, that was a spin. That was what we saw before. Oh, so it was that secondary impact with the 2-litre car. That's what's done the damage and put Reg back in the pits, and that's hence why he's been there. And maybe he's called it a night. So there he is, still in the pits. It's now been only 3 minutes, and the other possibility is he doesn't have another fast repair, and it's actually got to sit there for a certain amount of time to repair itself, and that could be what's going on. So sad for Reg tonight. He had a good race up until that point. I can tell you there's the look of disappointment on his face. He's looking up at his telemetry, but he's probably thinking, oh my gosh, that could have been so much better. So hard luck tonight for the Bay 21 entrant. Reg James, he finds himself in the pit lane and out of this race. Still leading Scott McCune. He's got a 3.6 second margin back to Brody. So Brody whilst he looked like he was closing it down at one stage, hasn't been able to really reel him in. So the lap time is about half a second quicker last lap for Brodie, but Scott McCune, like I said, I think he's a bit like a kitten or a cat playing with his food at the moment. He knows exactly what's going on, what he needs to do in the car. And oh, we've got a message from race control there. I was just having a quick look to see if the safety car was moving. It's not. I got a little bit excited there, thinking of a safety car, a late safety car. Wouldn't that be interesting to close everything up and make it exciting towards the end? But I'm sure McCune won't want that. What's happened to Dave Worrell? He's gone for the big slide. Dave Worrell in a bit of trouble. A high speed off there, but he's kept it away from the barrier, so that's nice driving in the end. It's into the stadium section. You know, let's have a quick look at that on a replay, because that's quite a spectacular fast entry here for Dave Worrell. Watch this. So he gets all out of shape and understeers off, in fact, and then it got some oversteer and brought it back onto the track nicely. So well controlled. That could have ended his night as well. Madison down in the pits from the lead of the 2-litre category, so he'll charge in and head down the pit lane with the pit limiter on. Through the Porsche safety car he goes. In fact, he stops just behind the Porsche safety car, up on the blocks to get his final service done. And then he'll rejoin what will be a 6-lap dash to the flag on fuel. So it's a little splash and dash here for the second pit stop as McCune just makes his way past Ardley again. You can see Ardley he's P2 in class, just coming into the stadium section now, so that is the difference between Down and Ardley. Quite a big margin on the racetrack. So just over an hour and 5 minutes into racing now. This is where sometimes you start to see a few mistakes creeping in as the drivers get a little bit tired, probably sweating it up and feeling a bit dehydrated now as well. And they're thinking, right, 5 or 6 laps to go. Just got to try and keep concentrating. Sometimes you can relax at this stage of the race because it's nearly over, and then all of a sudden you throw it into the weeds. So you've got to just keep yourself focused. Sometimes you can put your delta back up on the screen. That's one thing I used to do, is put the actual minus or the plus delta, which tells you how quick you are against your best lap time. And Reg James says, "I'm done, ouch." And that's a word coming through there on the chat. So there's Reg, head back, and upset about that. It's been a tough night. What was a fantastic, probably 32 or 33 laps. That little mistake, he spun, back end came around, compression locked the car, and was collected by one of the 2-litre cars, which then has put an end to his night, sadly. Let's go back to the 2-litre guys, because there's a good fight. It's Gordon here. Now, Madison down. I'm just having a look at this. Gordon's had a stop. Now, he's had his second stop on lap 32. It was only a 4-second splash and dash. Madison came in, and his stop was 24 seconds. Now, that's interesting. And doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me that Gordon could have such a short second stop. Now, whether or not he's not put enough fuel in that car, I'm looking at a couple of the other second stop times. And, well, Justin Cotter, who's just in front of the V8 supercar of this little battle, he took 30 seconds worth of fuel for his second stop. So surely Ryan has made a bit of an error there, and he's taken not enough fuel. What it has done, though, is made a lively end to this race, because he's leading Kai, who's leading Matt Anderson, and there's Madison down right on the back of all this. So there's 4 competitors for the lead of this 2-litre class within now a second and a half. Just what the doctor ordered. Late on the brakes there on the outside, Matt Anderson will sweep around. Down will look for a way through on the inside, then it becomes the outside though. This is where it can, oh, look at Madison with the switchback. He loves that move. Ardley quickly slams the door shut, puts himself in the slipstream of Anderson down this big long straightaway towards the hairpin. It's not really a straightaway, it kinks all the way around to the left. And Ardley's in a good position. Down's going to the left-hand side, trying to find some space down around the outside. How late on the brakes was Madison down there? And he'll turn across and hopefully get around the outside. There's a bit of contact with Ardley. Ardley just leans a little bit on the back panel of Madison down, but down gets a 2 for 1, says thank you, moves himself back up into 11th place, and he can now concentrate on chasing down Ryan Gorton, who's the next car up the road. So great fight here in the 2 litre category. And like I said, that was all class there by Madison, our guest wildcard entrant for tonight's race. And he's made that move stick. Callum's in the house. Hello, Callum. Welcome along tonight. Anderson still fighting with Ardley, who was quite wide in the stadium. So down, moves himself a second and a bit away from Ardley, which is good for him. Here comes one of the V8 supercars, that's Dumbrell, screaming his way through across our curb cam, just like that. And Anderson with a real challenge here. Look at him pushing Ardley, trying to find a way through. Now Ardley goes defensive. Might try this if he can go around the outside here. This is what Madison did perfectly. He did this switchback, he hung back to the left now, try and catch the car napping, and Madison was so late on the brakes of the hairpin he could make it work. It's all about positioning the car well and having good racecraft in this sense, because yes, if the car blocks to the right, which Ardley I think will do, he'll block to the right, well try and go to the left and then go around the outside if you can, because you can take a fair bit of speed with a wider arc through this hairpin, take the go-kart line or the wet weather line up higher on the racetrack, but Ardley pretty good there at just blocking. You see already how far down the road Down is as he chases down Gorton. The gap between these two now, under a second, at 0.6 of a second between the top drivers in the 2 litre category with 3 to go. No one's going to catch McCune tonight, or is he? No, the gap's still 3.4 seconds. So Scott McCune looking like he's going to take a victory in the first race of this brand new series for the Improved Production Racing Association New South Wales. And he's looked comfortable from the get-go, hasn't he? He's started on the front row of the grid, P2, moved up when Dumbrell made the mistake and spun around. He has not looked back. I thought he was going to be late on the brakes there, but that little 2 litre car really could brake late. Outbrake the V8 supercar. The supercar will monster him in a straight line, which he does. But wow, good job there from Brody under the brakes. Sorry from the brakes there, that was Harris, so good job. Now, Ardley and Anderson are still fighting. This is good, this is ongoing. These two not relaxing at all at this late stage of the race. It's lap 42 of 44. Kai Ardley moves himself back up ahead and into a podium position for the 2 litre class. So great job, P12 outright as well. As expected, the 2 litre cars separated from the V8 supercars by a couple of laps. And the supercars with about a 10-second or so advantage per lap. Here you go, Anderson again trying to have a crack. Goes to the left-hand side, Ardley defensive on the right. The braking zone, he'll try and just sweep right around if he can. It's a long shot, but there it is. And now he accelerates away. Hey, there's Dave Worrell in the background. Let's give him a little bit of airtime too, because as I said at the top of the broadcast, this man here, it wasn't Dave Worrell, there's Dave Worrell. This man here is a massive contributing factor to getting this series up and running, so it's great to see him out there. 8th place outright as well, so nice job. He's ahead of Justin Cotter, who's running back there in 9th for Cotter Racing Team. And there's the battle in front that's raging between Ardley and Anderson, so we'll keep an eye on these two into the last few laps of the race. In fact, 2 to go. Lap 43, McCune out in front. And these drivers in the 2 litre class, because they have been lapped 3 times, they're only going to compete for 39 laps in this race. And McCune's going to do the full 44. And it'll be 39 or 40 laps, in fact, for the drivers. Ooh, as Hogan goes off the circuit as well. But yeah, so Gorton now under pressure. Here goes Madison down. The gap 3/10. And he's left it to the last minute, Madison, to try and sneak through. And I'm still confused on those pit lane times, why it took 24 seconds for Madison stop versus 4 seconds for Ryan. But maybe Madison wanted to give us a run at the end here and a bit of a bit of excitement, and he's going to turn it on. He's got a lap and a half to do it. Can he get through now as he runs down towards the hairpin? You'll see Gordon probably stay on the right-hand side, go defensive. We've already seen Madison around the outside. He makes this move work very, very well. And oh, look at that. He just turns it on a dime and flies out of the apex. Good job down. He put himself to the inside for the run into Mercedes now. I'll tell you what, Gordon, we've seen him from the get-go as well be aggressive, and he's not phased at all by having Madison down racing alongside him. And he's held position there, so Down's really having to work to overtake him. Now he finally gets it done. Down moves up into 10th. We get the white flag, 1 lap to go. Gordon's going to try and come back at Down, and with a lap to go, he still may fancy himself getting a win in the 2-litre category tonight. It's going to be a good fight and a good tussle, but this man out in front, Scott McCune, what a drive. Put your hands together, because he's just, well, he's already about a quarter of the way through the final lap of this race, and apart from starting second, it's been a dominant performance at the front. It's a 2-second margin. Hopefully he's got enough fuel to finish this race. He's just lost a 10th there. In fact, you can see Brody in the background closing the margin down. It's 1.8 on the final lap, and I always get nervous at this stage. Has Scotty maybe short-fueled that? It's still 1.8 as he exits the hairpin. It looks pretty comfortable. He's definitely full throttle, so don't stress. I think there's enough fuel in the car for this man to bring it home. Meanwhile, Madison has got the margin to 0.8 of a second, so it looks pretty comfortable for him to take out the 2-litre category as well. Good driving, but into the stadium we're going to watch Scott McCune bringing it home, and I reckon he'll be pretty wrapped with this effort tonight. Just got the stadium section to go a little bit sideways. He's having a bit of fun out there. Doesn't mind throwing it all on the line when you're leading the race by 1.5 seconds. It's not the biggest margin to be doing an expression session, but let's see what he's like through the last couple of corners to take the checker flag and win the first race of this IPRA New South Wales Series, the Improved Production Racing Association for New South Wales. Put your hands together. It's a great win there for Scotty McCune. He gets it done, and he's won it by 1.1 seconds in the end over Brody Sentence, who gets second. Michael Dumbrell is going to come through and get himself a well-deserved 3rd place as well. So great drive, Dumbrell. In the end, he well, he'll probably be upset with himself that he put it in the wall and maybe cost himself a win tonight, but all in all, pretty good race. And we'll go on board, we'll catch up. Well, he's gone for, I think, an expression session. Might usually gives us a pretty good burnout. Or is he going to just reset? Oh, he resets the car. Just what I said, he's going to give us a good burnout. He resets the car, but your race winner, there he is. Scotty McCune celebrates, and, well, Madison Down crosses the line to get himself a win in the 2-litre class. Down crosses just ahead of Gordon, who gets second in class. Matt Anderson will come across the line and get 3rd place in class. Well done to those drivers, as well as Dibatito gets 4th outright, followed by Reali, who's going to take 5th outright as they come onto the pit straight. Just ahead of Garbutt, who gets 6th. Nice and close between the teammates there. Jason Dunn looks like he'll get 7th tonight. And then all the other competitors below have been classified as they are lapped. So just waiting for Jason Dunn to come around to take that 7th place trophy. And hopefully we'll get some interviews in with some drivers, and Scott McCune especially, who has won tonight's race, as we see Jason Dunn cross the line there and take a well-deserved 7th place. So McCune's out there celebrating. He's loving this. We'll go and have a talk to him shortly and wrap it all up here for round number 1 of the IPRA New South Wales Series here live on RACESTARS TV. I'll be back with you shortly. We'll set up some interviews, talk to the drivers. race results up on the screen now, and as you can see, it's a fantastic result for Scott McEwen, Brodie Sentence and Michael Dumbrell for the top class there, but then also down in the grey, Madison down, Matt Anderson and Kai Ardley with a great drive to take out the 2 litre class. Well, let's see if we can grab, we're just waiting on Scott McEwen to come into the waiting room. We'll get him in for a chat first of all. And we do have the other class, I think, standing by, so maybe we'll go to them first. Let's do that. So we'll grab, let's do it the other way around tonight. So we're going to grab, we'll go to the 2 litre guys first. And Madison down, congratulations, man. Great race tonight. Good to have you as the wildcard entry. And fantastic job, mate. You came from the back, didn't set a qualifying time. That was obviously deliberate, just to have a bit of fun out there tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Part of the agreement to come was, have some fun, do the last to first challenge and see how you go. And those opening laps were brilliant, and I had a good opportunity to run with the IPRA guys and some pretty good battles along the way. So kept it interesting there at the end, threw some more tyres at it and had another run with Gorton. So Gorton was really quick there during that race. I think something went wrong in a pit stop or something for him. But a huge thanks to the IPRA New South Wales crew for the invite. I had a fair bit of fun tonight, and I hope the whole championship goes well. Yeah, man, it's great to see big overtakes too down into the hairpin. That was a good one to watch. But exciting racing coming through the field, and as you said, you had some great battles with Gorton, and also Matt Anderson was there as well, fighting away. So Matty's joined us. Hello, Matt.
Hello.
Here he is. How was that, man? Good racing. We're talking to the 2 litre or the 2 litre guys first, and we'll go and talk to the supercars guys. But well done, Matt, and second in class.
Didn't realise I got second. Someone must have disappeared.
Well, maybe not actually. I'm just trying to say. Well, actually, I wonder if did Gorton get himself a penalty post race.
Yeah, I got a penalty for too many incidents on the very last lap.
There you go.
That's why I went through the pit lane.
I was wondering why you'd got put down into 16th place, so that clears that up for us, mate. But yeah, so Matty, you've been put up there to second in class, so congratulations.
It's the only way I'm going to do it. But it was an awesome battle with Kai. I'm trying to work out how to watch 3-play on that one because I gave him everything I could.
And a good way to kick off a brand new series too, which will be spread out across this whole year. So sort of once a month, jumping in here and having a good run. Obviously, the main thing is you're having fun, yeah?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Even Madison slowed down to have some fun.
Excellent. And then so Kai, I'm just going to bring Kai in as well. So we'll grab Kai to say, mate, congratulations, Kai, on P3 in class, mate. So well done. You've been elevated up a spot there. Unfortunately, Ryan got a penalty post-race.
I don't think I have my push to talk on, but can you hear me?
Yeah, mate. Loud and clear.
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing there in the first, I think it was the first couple of laps. I got caught up in a tangle, and you might have seen it, I went sideways and absolutely cooked my tyres from there. Got caught up in a couple of little shunts, and I got taken out after the race, which is pretty uncalled for. Nearly broke my wrist, which is annoying. Thankfully okay, but it was a good race overall. A really good race there with Matthew, I think it was, Matt Anderson.
Bloody thing.
That was a really good race with him.
Yep.
And congrats to Madison on the win. He was too fast for us. I don't know how he's that fast, but he's fast. So that was a good race.
The man, the myth, the legend, he is fast. Let's go do some thank yous quickly before we go and talk to the winners of the race in the supercar class. So Madison, the winner of the 2 litre category tonight, who would you like to thank, mate? You got some personal sponsors and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Virtual Racing School is always a big backer of mine, and it's always great to go down and look at the data and see how you went and whatnot. Probably won't do it so much with this, but we really rely on that in our standard supercars series. So, and obviously Virtual Racing School coach as well. So, can book coaching through the service and find the extra few tenths when you need to. And also a big shout out to Next Level Racing as well. Caught up with those guys in Queensland about a week or two ago. Great bunch of guys, and loving the rig that they've sent me, and watch out for some media content the next few weeks with those guys.
Awesome, mate. Now I've got to ask you too quickly before we go to Matt. Was there any time tonight where you just wished you were in one of those supercars?
Absolutely, but hey, it was actually good to drive something different. It was I don't do a lot of stuff in TCR, so David told me basically we're not going to put you in a car that you know back to front and you coach people in. So jump into something unfamiliar and have some fun, and it was fun. So enjoyed it.
Well done, mate. Matt, P2 tonight in class. Who would you like to thank?
We've got a club racing team, which is 4 little Hondas. We thought we'll be at the back of the pack, but it was good to mix it up. And also I'd like to thank Kai for an awesome race there, and Madison down for dropping back to give us a little bit of hope, and then pissing off again.
And then well done, Kai, P3 in class, mate. Who would you like to thank?
Yeah, just Melbourne Performance Centre, all the series sponsors, VRS, I can't remember them all, but all them, and all the drivers for a great race, and the race control, and everyone putting on the series, and yourself for the broadcast.
Thanks, man. We'll see you in round 2. Right, let's go to the top drivers now, and Scott McCune, is he in the house? He is. Congratulations, mate, on the win tonight. It looked like a lot of fun out there tonight, obviously with your good mates around you, and the HSR team was very strong, but well done, mate. Good win.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. It was good fun, different with the TCR cars. Haven't really driven multi-class before, so a little bit of a learning curve. But no, it was good fun. And poor old Michael coming unstuck on the hairpin. Otherwise, I think I would have been hard pushed catching him all night, to be honest.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I think I could hear Jamie McKnight ringing in my ears saying he's head-butted victory in the head. So we'll come to Michael in a second. But, mate, it was a good race. It was good watching you in the rig, and just you looked pretty comfortable. Obviously the setup felt nice tonight, but as you said, you had to still weave your way through the 2-litre cars.
Yeah, no, look, I think the supercar's been at 90% power as well. It definitely makes them easier to get out of the corners.
Right.
So they're not as wild as they normally are, but yeah, no, it was good fun. Yeah, and we've done this track a fair few times, so pretty comfy with it, and you know, it was just good fun getting out there and trying to catch them and get past them and go again and catch them again. So added some excitement.
Yeah, we just got a comment there from Michael Stewart saying good luck HSR boys, and he's missing being out there tonight, so nice to see him watching along. Let's go to P2 now, and Brody, well done, man. You were putting a good fight on, and even towards the end there, I think the margin came down to just under a second and a half, so a late charge. Just you probably needed a couple more laps to try and catch up to Scotty.
Yeah, a bit of traffic probably helped in there, that's for sure. But yeah, I was basically from left the pits for the first stop. It was basically qualifying laps from there all the way to the finish. But yeah, it was a hard push, that's for sure. But he was keeping me honest.
Yeah, you guys super quick out there. So 1 minute 40.0 was Scott's quickest lap time, or 1:40.3 your quickest lap time. And then Michael with the unfortunate error which put you in the fence early on, a 1:39.8. So quickest lap of the race went to you. Talk us through obviously that moment. Just lit the rear tyres up and stuck it in the wall.
Yeah, I think I just, like Scott said, I was just struggling with the first of all, g'day Luke.
Hello.
Yeah, just with the multi-class sort of things, and one of the TCRs went wide to let me through, and I just wasn't really expecting him to do that. And as I went around the corner, I just was watching him, and I just nailed my foot a bit too hard, and yeah, around it went, and it was gone, which was all right. But once I pitted, I forgot the fast repair, and I must have been carrying some damage because I just had no speed after that, and yeah, the guys just took off. So just a matter of finishing from there.
Yeah, it's good to see you back in the chair, mate, and racing, and obviously getting back into some vets hopefully as well. You've been absent a little bit lately.
Yeah, I've been working, mate. It's like JetStars going, oh, we know Mick wants to work every Thursday night for the rest of his life. So yeah, but I'll be back in vets tomorrow night and next week, so that's good. And yeah, I just signed up this morning to the IPRA, so no, it's good fun.
No, it's good. It's such a great series, and really good fun to watch for myself as well tonight commentating it. So let's go through the top 3 before we wrap it up here, and we'll start with Scott McCune, our race winner tonight. Who would you like to thank?
Mate, just want to thank Dave and the IPRA for putting on the series. You know, another good fun series to have a crack around in. Thank yourself, Luke, for broadcasting, because I know it'll be an absolute ripper, as it always is.
Thanks, mate.
And all the boys, you know, in the V8s, you know, like Brody, like you said, kept me honest. I had to keep looking in the mirror and watching the relative. And Michael, unfortunately. But yeah, all the boys for putting up a good race, and congrats to the TCR top 3 as well. And yeah, look forward to coming back doing it next month.
That's it. It's a great series. I'm loving it. So Brody, who would you like to thank, man? Because obviously, you know, you can go away now, you can prepare, and you know where Scotty and Michael are strong, and do a bit of practice where you need to. But I reckon you're going to be right there for this whole series. It's great.
Yeah, that's right. It's nice to see, like, sort of where I'm there or thereabouts. But yeah, definitely keen for the next one. And just a massive shout out to Sim Racing Grid, Sim Labs, HRS, and Hardtuned. I'd just like to say a massive shout out to Ash, recovering from COVID at home. Get well soon.
And all about that. So yeah, you got to get well, Ash. It's not fun, that's for sure. I'm still coughing my way through tonight. So.
That's it.
Every time you think I'm laughing, I'm actually probably coughing. So
just masking it a bit.
That's it. Trying to just sneak away while I quickly reach for the mute button.
Yeah, nice.
Nah, great job, Brody. And then Michael, finally tonight. Who would you like to thank, mate? P3 could have been a win, but P3 tonight.
Yeah, at least there was another HSR car up on the P1, which was good. There was enough of us there. I think the odds were in our favour. But yeah, obviously, I'd like to thank yourself for the broadcast. Obviously, Dave for dropping everything and putting me in this morning, and Ben, Tiapan Events. They always do a pretty good job. And obviously, all the HSR boys, Shane, Michael, Stuart couldn't be here, but they're on the road. Not sure exactly what they're doing, but they're out country doing something. So, yeah, that's about it, I think.
Excellent. Well, thanks, boys. Scott, the winner for the first round of the IPRA New South Wales Improved Production Racing Association Series. Live on RACESTARS TV. It's a mouthful, that one. But yeah, it's great to see you guys out there again, and we'll look forward to round 2 next month. So take care, guys, and have a safe long weekend coming up as well.
Cheers, Luke. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys. All right, so that's it for tonight, and we'll head across. And obviously, with the calendar we looked at earlier, we're heading off to some Australian tracks coming up for the next few races as well. So this series will wrap in throughout the year. I'll quickly put up the splash screen so you can see. We're off to Winton next round on May the 4th, and then we head to Oran Park, Phillip Island, and then we're back at Hockenheim before Oran Park, Winton, Phillip Island, and Bathurst to kick off the big finale round 9 in November. So put that in your calendar. May 4th for the next round from Winton, which will be fantastic. But there is Scott McEwen taking the win tonight. I'm Luke, this is RACESTARS TV. Thanks for everyone that watched and got involved tonight. Of course, the banter was okay over on YouTube and a little bit quiet on Facebook, but hey, as Andrew said, they might have to get some Victorian IPRA races or 2 in there as well. Yeah, put the challenge in. Contact Dave Worrell. There's a link to the series in the description, so get involved. Right, until next time, take care. We'll be back on Thursday night for the V8 Veterans. Until then, good night.